I want you to think about the last tomato you bought at the grocery store. It was probably perfectly round. It was probably bright red. And when you sliced into it, it probably tasted like absolutely nothing, just wet cardboard. We have been trained to accept this. We pay high prices for produce that was picked green, gassed with ethylene to turn it red, and shipped 3,000 miles in a cold truck. But what if I told you that you could grow the sweetest, most flavorful tomatoes of your life without a garden, without a farm, without even a patch of dirt? All you need is a sunny corner, a balcony, a patio, and a simple plastic bucket. They call this the Urban Tomato Factory. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how to turn a $2 plastic container into a machine that pumps out 50 pounds of fresh food every single season. We are going to cover the soil secrets that prevent rot. We are going to cover the deep planting technique that doubles your root mass. And we are going to show you how to do it all for pennies. This is not just gardening. This is printing your own food. Welcome back to Easy Gardening for Seniors and Juniors. Let's get growing. Most people think that growing in pots is a compromise. They think it is what you do when you can't have a real garden. They are wrong. Growing in containers is actually superior. When you grow in the ground, you are fighting nature. You are fighting heavy clay soil. You are fighting nematodes. You are fighting soil-borne diseases like verticillium wilt that can live in your dirt for 10 years. But in a container, you are the god of that tiny world. You control the drainage. You control the nutrients. You control the soil temperature. And because the soil warms up faster in a pot than in the ground, you get fruit weeks earlier than the farmers do. But you have to choose the right vessel. You don't need a fancy ceramic pot. You need volume. A tomato plant is a thirsty giant. It needs at least 5 gallons of root space. I use standard 5-gallon utility buckets. You can get them at the hardware store or even get them for free from bakeries and delis. Just drill 5 or 6 half-inch holes in the bottom. Drainage is life. If the water sits, the roots rot. If the water flows, the roots breathe. Here is where 90% of beginners fail. They go to the backyard, they dig up some dirt, and they put it in the pot. Do not do this. Garden soil is heavy. When you put it in a pot, it compacts. It turns into a brick of concrete. Your roots will suffocate. For a tomato factory, you need a mix that is light, fluffy, and holds moisture like a sponge. Here is my secret lasagna mix. Part 1 is compost. This is your engine. It provides the microbes and the nutrients. Part 2 is peat moss or cocoa coir. This is your sponge. It holds water so you don't have to water every hour. Part 3 is perlite. These are those little white rocks. They create air pockets. Roots need oxygen just as much as they need water. Mix these 3 parts equally. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And then add the secret ingredient, calcium. Tomatoes suffer from a condition called blossom end rot. You've seen it. The bottom of the fruit turns black and mushy. It breaks your heart. That is caused by a lack of calcium. So before I plant, I crush up a handful of eggshells into a fine powder, or I add a half cup of wood ash, like we talked about in our last video. Mix it right into the bottom layer of the soil. This is your insurance policy. Now I am going to teach you the one trick that separates the masters from the amateurs. It is called deep planting. Look at a tomato seedling. You see the main stem? You see those tiny little fuzzy hairs all along the stem? Those are not hairs. Those are adventitious roots waiting to happen. If those hairs touch soil, they transform into roots.
But in a bucket, you don't have the space. We want single stem dominance. We want the energy to go into the fruit, not into growing more leaves. So every morning, I go out with my coffee and I play the snapping game. I find those little suckers in the armpits and snap, I pinch them off with my thumb. Snap, snap, snap. By doing this, you force the plant to focus. You are telling it, stop building house additions and start making dinner. The result is bigger fruit, better airflow, and less disease. There is a moment that makes all this work worth it. It's a Tuesday evening. You didn't have to drive to the store. You just walked out to your balcony. You reached into that green jungle and you pulled off a tomato that is warm from the sun. It smells like earth in summer. You slice it open and it is deep red all the way through.
Cheers,
You put a little
everyone.
salt
What a
on it and
wonderful
you take a bite.
harvest.
That taste, that isn't just a tomato. That is the taste of independence. That is the taste of knowing that you can provide for yourself, even if you just have a tiny square of concrete to call your own. You turned a plastic bucket into a food source. That is magic. I want you to try this. Get a bucket this week, drill the holes, bury that plant deep, and in 2 months, when you are swimming in salsa and spaghetti sauce, come back here and leave a comment. If you found this guide helpful, please hit that like button. It helps us grow the channel. And share this with a friend who thinks they don't have space to garden. Prove them wrong. I'm your favorite gardener. This is Easy Gardening for Seniors and Juniors, and I'll see you in the next one.